Okay, let's see what we got. This one's very basic. I played Breakout before. This time I actually know what the heck I'm looking at. So I won't start a 4-player game or whatever the heck I did last time. We're still waiting for the paddles to come out separately. It will happen. I'm confident of it. Right, so see, that's the number of players. 1, 2, 3, 4. Boom. 2. Now these different modes, there's a whole stack of them. And they're just like, some of them you can steer the ball after you fire it, or the ball's invisible, or I don't know. There's all kinds of weird. There's a breakthrough mode where the ball breaks through all the bricks in one go. But again, you want to get your manual out and have a look at the handy dandy. I'm pretty sure this one has, yep, the handy dandy thing. Breakout, time to break out, break through. Steerable, catch. That's it, where you hold the button down, you catch the ball, and the ball is invisible. What is that? Invisible ball? Sometimes, I gotta say, some of these Atari games, they would really make a big deal out of like Space Invaders. Space Invaders has 120 game modes, which is crazy. I mean, half of them are 2-player, fine. But when you actually look into what the heck the game modes are, they're crazy crap, like, Invisible Invaders, and they just, every freaking thing, it's just like, well, that's a totally different game mode. And you're going, yeah, but you could have done that and made it part of a progression of difficulty, or not. I mean, it's like, okay, technically you're right, but is it though? All right. Oh, God. Now this could be, because I've been playing this a while, but the paddle definitely feels like, ooh, it's a little more jerky. But the fact is, people have done alpha beta comparisons, and the original paddles back in the day, if you have some that work, they ain't going to be much different. This is just kind of what it is. And having said that, this little bit of where you have to kind of go, oh, I'm going to jump over there and grab that. It's still better than trying to use a D-pad to play this game. I mean, D-pad would be even worse. I'd be overcorrecting and all the rest of this jazz. So, it's not perfect. You know what a perfect world is? Perfect world is buy yourself an arcade cabinet with a pro-grade potentiometer in it. I mean, who's doing that? Okay, that's that one. Now I'm going to try to hot swap this. I pull this out. Let's see what happens. Okay, screen goes black. Canyon Bomber. This one isn't going to take long. This game doesn't feel like it should be a paddle game at all. Oh, okay. What if I hit? Oh, it's just automatically going to try it. I still prefer flipping the switch on and off. I don't need to. It takes longer. I got to load the game, but I just like the tactility of that. But this is the game that, in the main modes of Canyon Bomber, you're just pressing this red button. Well, I could do that with a joystick. Why is this a paddle game? Well, there's another game mode where your ship's dropping depth charges, and you use the paddle to adjust the depth. So that's why. But it still seems thin to me. I don't see why you couldn't do that with a joystick too. But I suspect there was a bit of, gee, guys, we have these paddle controllers. We really need to sell games that use them if we're going to get people to buy the paddles. Okay. Canyon Bomber, what do we got? Canyon Bombers, games 1 to 6, number of players. 1 and 3 are 1-player games. Game 3 is suspended bricks, and game 1 has falling bricks. And then Sea Bomber is game 7 and 8. 7's a 1-player version. Wonderful. All right. What did I say it was again? 1. Right. All right. So I'm the yellow one. So you're trying to get your bombs deeper than the other guy's bombs because the lower the bricks are that you break, the better your score. So you just fly back and forth. I'm the yellow guy. And this was my experience of playing this game before, is the computer seems to have like ridiculously superior ability to hit the high scoring bricks than I do, and I have no hope in hell. I've never been able to beat the machine. This one is definitely taking all of our jobs, and is going to fool all of the bosses at NORAD into launching a thermonuclear strike against the Soviets. There's no question about it. We are doomed by the Canyon Bomber AI. It's just superior to human intellectual prowess. What can you do in the face of that? The wicked of machine intelligence. All right, now this, I haven't started the game yet. So you see this dashed line. Now the dashed line represents where your depth charge is going to detonate. So not only do I have to drop ordnance into the sea, but I then and have it timed to hit these freaking things, but I also have to make sure that this is at the right level. So I have to go, right, I'm going to go for the bottom ones. All right, okay, did I actually get that one? Oh my God, I did. Woohoo! I get the big money there. Look at that. All right. Yeah, okay. Let's see if we can get this guy. It seems to be, oh, come on. It seems to be fairly, no. I'm still saying ahead. The hit detection is fairly forgiving. The problem is that you can't change it. Once you've dropped the thing, you're committed. You can't then go and say, maybe that's realistic, quote unquote. But it would be nice to be able to go, gee, I miscalculated the depth. And you can see there, like I hit that one, even though it was like, seemed to be well ahead of where it was falling. I like how your plane changes too. And I had thought breath charges were more of the weapon of destroyers than submarines, but a good thing is that I don't need to leave it at that depth to am I right? Let me see if I'm right. I then move it. Nope. I'm sure I had that once. If I leave this, okay, so I've set the depth. Now if I move the thing, I need a good example. I thought that if I dropped it and set the depth, I could then move the thing elsewhere and it would still hit. Or detonate rather, at the depth that I had. Yeah, well, I hit something. I don't know why it hit that one. I'm sure I didn't have it at the right depth. Oh, and look at that. Frickin' Skynet strikes again. Hey, almost. Come on, I can do this one. Yes. No, this one. This one. Let's see if I can. It's just too. This game is fiddly as hell. It's like, come on, I'm moving really fast. I got that one. I just cannot beat the freaking computer in this game. Oh, wait a minute. Maybe I can. I have no idea what the heck the win condition is here. First person to get 800, what? No, apparently not. Alright, already lost. Alright, come on. Just put me out of my misery. It's gonna be 1,000, isn't it? Nope. You just win already. It's kind of offensive. Yeah, there we go. So that's Canyon Bomber. Wow. Definitely not one that I'd be playing on its own. And now for this game. I played some Atari with my kid. I got him to indulge the old man. And when we got to this game, Night Driver was like, why is this game like this? Because it's completely out to lunch. Like if real driving was like this, if real driving at night was like this, nobody would do it. Alright, Night Driver. Put this in. Interestingly, although it might not look like it, this was an arcade game. Not only an arcade game, it was a sit-down arcade game. In which the car at the bottom of the screen was, I believe, a piece of plastic film that your steering action moved back and forth, and some kind of mechanism detected its position against the moving background. So the improvement of the video is to give an electronic representation of the car. All right, let's see. 90 seconds. If you play, so 1 through 4, Novice, Pro, Expert, Random, and then 5 through 8 game modes are the same, but with no time limit. You just play it until you lose the will to live. So I'm going to play on Novice, because this game's a bit wackadoo crazy. Okay. No, wrong controller. Now, the button on the side, I have an analog knob here that detects how much I'm turning, but the button, the accelerator, is not analog. So I'm either driving or I'm not. And you really are doing a bit of, and this is manageable. When you play higher difficulties on this thing, you know, it's, I keep smashing everything. So you got a countdown. Oh. I mean, it is a game that if your eyes can't track what's happening very well, you'd just be sitting here going, what is happening? I can't, what are all these lines? Is this a lane? What am I looking at? There's trees, there's a house, there's cars. Why are the cars honking at me? Why can't they just... Right, but this game is just completely bonkers. I love it. I don't know why I love it, but I do. It's just this complete feeling of madness, trying to drive them on the twistiest, most dangerous nighttime road in the history of the world. Oh, wow. I really hit that car. I appear to be driving what looks like a tractor. I mean, it is like... the cars that are coming at me look like real cars, but my car looks like nothing. Okay. Definitely worth a laugh. I mean... Again, this is one of those early Atari games that I think that if you were back in the day, I don't know if you paid like $100 for it, you probably would have been like, hang on a minute, that's it. Or you would have been going, I'm going to play the ever-living heck out of this thing. This is like the only game that I'm playing for the rest of my life. Now, Video Olympics, I'm pretty sure is a 2 to 4 player game. I don't think there's any 1-player games in this. But it is a Pong collection. It's a Pong collection. Oh wait, no, there is. Okay. The only games that you can play 1 player is Pong. Game number 1 and game number 2. Game number 2 gives you a whammy. I don't know what that means. It's fine. In the interest of brevity, I'm not going to actually read this. Okay. The Olympics, 2 down, 2 up. Bop, 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 bop. Okay. Let's see. Action on this, much smoother than Breakout. I think Breakout is just one of those games that is a bit fiddly. I think Super Breakout is a little less fiddly. And I do have Super Breakout, but I'm going to save that for a future video. Since that one's a little bit, I think that one might be harder to find. Maybe, maybe not, I don't know. It seemed harder to find. Certainly with the original label on it, I counted myself quite oh, come on now. Nope. Yeah. Alright, come on. Come on. Yes! Skynet will not have this day. No? Come on. Oh. This is a superior intellect, clearly. You know what? It's a draw. You get the idea. It's Pong. And Pong, interestingly, is is a game that was not written with code. It was written with transistors and circuits. So every time we have a video emulation of it, it's, you're not emulating code, you're emulating circuits. So is it legitimately Pong? Debate. Oh. And we're done with the panels for this session. I honestly don't know how many of these I'm going to do. I mean, we'll see if anybody watches this one and what kind of feedback I get. There are some other tasty tidbits there in the collection. I recently got a copy of Stargate, which I didn't even know Stargate existed on the 2600. This was the sequel to Defender. It was also sold as Defender 2 when that movie came out, and there became some kind of rights contention over the name, which I think is a bit goofy, although there was video games based on that movie, so I guess they're not entirely illegitimate. And Williams, I guess, forgot to renew their trademark or something. So there's that. And I wouldn't mind, showing off the Evercades collection, especially their rather terrible Atari arcade collection. But their 2 console compilations are just so nicely curated. It would be a shame not to do those too. And then I have an Atari Couchcade, the Arcade 1-Up. You might see the little orange box there on top of my digital preamp. That I quite like that thing. The trackball's a bit janky, but otherwise I think there are people I think are a bit unfair to that particular machine. I think it's very much worthwhile if you like some of the older Atari games from the arcade days. Okay, this is my first Imagic thing, Demon Attack. I never owned this as a kid. I thought it was a bit limited. I remember playing it on a friend's Intellivision. The Intellivision version is not really that different. This is a pretty basic kind of game. Unlike Phoenix and Galaxian and Space Invaders, the things you're shooting are not in formation, but the enemy types are kind of, if it was a modern game, there would be far more varied. But the animation of the sprites is good. I don't know if you call these sprites, actually. I think it's too early for that. But the animation of the enemies is nice, and the sound effects are good. So this is pretty basic. Joystick back and forth. You can't move vertically. pulse beat instead of an actual music track. Alright, that's wave 1. Every time you finish a wave, you get a free life. I think that was another aspect of this game. I felt it was possibly too easy. I think I didn't break out the manual, but I think you can increase the difficulty, but I think it's just difficulty switch related. I can't remember. If there's alternate game modes, I think they're basically like 1 player versus 2 player. A lot of the Imagic games, like the Activision games, didn't really do a lot with game modes outside of like having a 2-player option. Yeah, see look, I got 6 extra lives. Not as bad as Astro Smash on the Intellivision, which is like a game it's kind of like an endurance contest because the challenge level in it is so low that you can just sit there for ever shooting these little falling things over and over again. Well, this is where it gets a little more difficult. Those guys split up into little bitty ones. Oh, and they'll fly down and land on your head after a while. Yes, we can do a little chip. I wonder if this was like, I'm gonna let one of them land and see what happens. Nah, it just goes away. So, actually not a big deal. I do remember there were arcade games back in the day where if the thing, obviously there's Space Invaders. I think, what the hell is it called? There was a game from Williams or Midway where you were shooting devils that if they landed on the ground, then they would kill you. So I'm not fully paying attention right now, that's why they're clobbering me. I'm too busy reminiscing and talking. Come on, die. Ooh, I don't remember these guys. I like the big mouths on them. Are they all going to be split in 2 from here on out? I've never played this game long enough. I'm getting to be quite engaged with this. I have to say, the enemy variety is surprising me a bit compared to what I remembered when I was a kid playing this. Kind of felt like I'd seen everything the game had to offer within a couple minutes. But again, a testament to the 2600 originally, or possibly just this iteration, the emulator. The colors, pop, 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 wonderful. So that was Demon Attack. We're moving on now to Dragonfire. The Dragonfire is kind of interesting in that it has 2 different game stages, I guess. Stages? Modes? Not modes. Game modes. We're playing a different game. This one has different game modes. It basically just amps the difficulty. But there's 2 stages to gameplay in Dragonfire. Stage 1 is this, where you're trying to enter the castle. The fireballs are being fired by the dragon off camera. And then you're trying to go in. Oh, and you can duck. Ooh, look at me. I'm ducking. Oh, I'm jumping. Now I gotta steal those treasures and then leave. And this down here is a little house where you can hide from the dragon, and then that's the one you leave to get out of. And then you go, oops, I jumped instead of when I should have ducked. Oh, come on. Oh, that wasn't fair. For the first time I played this, I was just like, I don't remember this being this hard. I could not get any treasure. The thing was just, oh, look at this guy. He's not having it. Nope. But I'm sorry. My sick mother needs me to get these goods to the pawn shop. Oh, how did I do that? That was a good impulsive press of the button at the wrong time. Yeah, that's pretty good. Not bad at all. I mean, You know, these are all very basic games. It's a fun part about Atari. You just sit there with a stack of cards, you play a game for like 5 minutes, and then you move on to the next one. Now, Cosmic Arc was one I always liked as a kid. I don't know why. I mean, it's not the worst. Oh, you know, I left one out, by the way. There's Atlantis, which is a variation on Missile Command. But, you know, like I said, this isn't the only one of these videos I'm planning to do. This is sort of a sequel to Atlantis. When you lose a game of Atlantis, the little ship, the landing craft from Cosmic Arc flies away. And this is another game that has 2 different stages to it. Stage 1. The big ship. Oh no, there's some asteroids coming to destroy the Cosmic Arc. And stage 2 is, I gotta go get these critters and save them. And you get more points the higher up you are. And right now, everything is peaceful. Alright, I got all the animals. And if you don't leave right away, there's a rock that comes and smash your ship. Render all your hard work for nothing. Alright, so I got this. Yep, brilliant. Okay, I'm going to save. Now, wait a minute, what's going on here? Now, this is the part that game logic fails for me. Because this thing is, these are some kind of defense tower that are actively going to try and destroy your ship. And I'm like, right, the whole theoretical background of this is you're trying to save animals from, you're finding a new home or something. So you're trying to beam up these animals 2 by 2 from the alien planet. It shot me. They shot me again. And now it's too late. And you're trying to beam up from this alien planet. So I'm like, well, who's put the little towers up to stop me from doing that? Am I poaching? Like, what's happening? Am I stealing them from someone's zoo? I don't, and they don't like it? Now, if you go all the way down, it doesn't take as much time to beam them up, but you don't get as big a score. But the fact is, these frickin' towers make this really difficult to do without getting your ass shot off. Alright, I only got 1. Now what happens, now this is what you're going to see. Alright, so in this part you're not pushing the button, by the way. You're just moving the stick in different directions to shoot. And you'll see there's only 1 guy down there because we ran away and then we came back. Now this time I left in time, I didn't get the signal. So there's no rock trying to kill me. I love how it was like deep, 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 like you're making music when you shoot. That's kind of cool. But man, some of these critters, they just don't want to go with us. And I'm like, I'm trying to save you, man. Just get in the ship. Oh, come on. Did I not shoot that? I'm sure I did. But sometimes you shoot the wrong direction, and you see what the reaction times are like. It's not easy. But I did like, as a kid, I was like, I want to see what kind of animal designs. Ooh, this one looks like little poodles, you know, and, come on. I lost that one. All right, I'm going to get it back in the ship, get one of them. Let's get his friend, though. Now, if you look at the bottom on this screen, you'll see what the red bar is the energy meter or something. So what eventually causes the big game over is when you run out of energy, which can happen because you get hit by a rock. Or if you don't get the animals, you got to keep coming back to the same planet because you keep getting shot and having to flee. And eventually it will end. But you get the idea here. You're pressing the button. Oh, for Pete's sake. You're pressing the button to get the guy, and then you're going back to the ship. And that's it. It's just rinse, repeat. But I remember playing this game a lot, and you just be like, right, doot, and shooting the rocks. And what's next? Oh, look at these guys. They got little head. They got big heads or something. Come on. Yeah. say that. Oh, 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 oh. Oh, look at that. I can still shoot. Am I going to get to... Yes! Haha! Incredible. Oh, I'm getting slow on the uptake here. The rocks just start coming faster and faster. It's one of these, like, diminishing returns kind of things. I don't care how good your hand-eye coordination is, and mine's pretty good still after all these years. Eventually, you're going to run out of time, and they're going to get you. But that's kind of the beauty of these old games, just seeing like how far can I go before the inevitable end. Oh. Come on. Those red ones are the worst. They're really fast. And even worse, the ones that come in from the sides, because there's less, you got less reaction time from the sides because your ship is so wide. And there we go. Oh, whoa, and that's how you know you lost, because you get them pretty. And there's the ship going away. It's like the emergency escape pod. And that's Cosmic Arc. Pretty groovy. All right, we're down to the final four. I'm going to have to do some judicious editing on this, or just hope we got patient viewers. So this is Reactor. This is the first Parker Brothers game I'm going to put in. Now, Reactor was a game that I remember really playing the heck out of back in the day. So, like I said earlier, this is a game that has gameplay that is reminiscent of Phozon. Phozon was a Namco game in which you controlled some kind of molecule or particle, and it was like sumo. You're supposed to bump. Look at that. It's got like a full tune going on in an Atari game? Who knew? Now I can move this thing around, but the game isn't actually happening until I hit the reset switch. But Reactor is the same kind of deal. In that game, it was like sumo. You're supposed to be bumping the other particles and things off of a platform. In this one, you're trying to bump the particles into the walls to destroy them. Now, in the corners are what they call bonus areas. So if you bump the things into there, I think they're worth more points. The 4 lines on either side of the screen, these little dashes over here, and these ones over here, are control rods. The conceit here is that this thing in the middle is a reactor core. It will grow larger over time as the reactor nears meltdown. You eliminate the cores on either side, the control rods rather, and that will cause it to shrink. But you have to get all 4 of them by bumping particles, and the particles are mesons and quarks or whatever. And this is your thing. So all you got to do is just maneuver your ship, and they will try to smash you into the wall. If you hit the wall, you'll get hurt. If you hit the core, you're fine. The core doesn't hurt you. But the core does get bigger, which means that the amount of space, distance you have to, there you go. So you took out the control rods and you see it shrunk. Now, one thing that you can do is I can press the button, and that's a decoy. So they'll all make a beeline for that, and they'll just kill themselves if they bounce off of each other. Or you can just kind of park yourself so that when they try to hit the decoy and bounce off the wall, they'll ricochet into you. But now they're trying to get me, of course. Oh, and every time you get one of those, you get another decoy to deploy. So I think the 3 numbers up there, and I think one of them, yeah, the middle one is the number of decoys you have, and the one on the right is the number of lives. And the countdown clock, I think, is the number of seconds you have until the core gets to its next stage of criticality. Oh, they finally got me. So it's pretty, it's not bad. Oh, I got one in the bonus score point. Oh, and it just flipped the bonus area. Okay. Oh, God. That was poor. Alright, so now I've got no lives left. Come on, get that control rod. And if you've seen Chernobyl, you'll know exactly that is basically what this game is about. It's like, let's try to avoid a nuclear meltdown. It's very serious, China syndrome type of situation here. You're trying to save 3 Mile Island and all that. Hopefully none of those jokes are too soon. I mean, I don't want anyone coming at me at my next stand-up for making light of nuclear disasters from the 80s, but come on, you. So some of these particles are pretty big, like that one. So if you look in the manual, the instruction book for this thing, you will see that each of these particles has a different shape. Each of the shapes, represents a different particles, has a different name, and the larger particles were made up of smaller particles. So you'll break one, and then it'll become 2 little ones or whatever. And there's just all kinds of jazz. I think that the nostalgia bug. There's someone in the Atari Age forums. I was mentioning this, it basically spurred me to buy it again because I didn't remember it clearly. I didn't remember if I really enjoyed this game, but it is pretty cool. It's very different kind of gameplay from a lot of Atari games, bouncing into these things. The sound effects are pretty, the usual bleeps and bloops, but what stands this apart from a lot of games is the fact that it actually has a soundtrack, a little opening jingle. And that was what was a nostalgia trigger for this fellow on the forum. Oh, the car is getting way too big. This is bad. I don't think I'm going to make it. Captain. Oh, there we go. So I got my red, engineering shirt on. So I'm doing the Star Trek thing now. Oh, man, come on. Won't this core just stabilize? My forever curse is to be bouncing the particles into the wall. And they got me. They got me, Jim. Pretty neat. I dig it. Okay, that was Reactor. I'm doing these a bit reverse order, actually, alphabetically anyway. Well, not really, but I was going to do Amidar first. This is Tutankhamun. Now, I don't know if you played Tutankhamun. It's kind of a weird game. You're a little explorer guy, Indiana Jones style, but this game came out, I think, before Indiana Jones. And you're looking to steal treasures from a tomb, and there's points with monsters. Again, I'm going to hit reset so you can hear it again, but this actually attempts, in the arcade game, it does a little musical thing, and they actually bothered to do it. And this is why Parker Brothers gets some respect, because they don't have to do. A lot of publishers would be churning out rubbish, or they'd half-ass some of the ports. And graphically, the arcade game looks light years better than this, but they captured the core. The monsters look good. That thing with the little alcove there with the dash in it, that's a monster generator. You'll have a musical or an audio cue for when a monster is going to appear. Just like the arcade, you can only shoot left and right, so going into an alcove where the treasures are is a risk proposition. And so the goal is to go through, get as many treasures as you can, get the key, and then go to the keyhole to open the door to get to the next level, and rinse and repeat as much as you can until you eventually die. And the monster enemy, the enemy variety is just as good as the arcade, really, as far as I can see. They don't have the same fidelity as the arcade sprites, but they're close enough. I can tell what they're supposed to be, which is kind of cool. Oh, I didn't get to hear the sound again. There's a scorpion, we got a snake. Now this is a little tunnel, so it takes me to the next area. Gotta be careful, that scorpion's gonna come up and try and get me. There he is. We got a bat. Oh, snake. Oh! I misjudged that one. See, I got my little gun. Getting gems. First time I played this, I was just like, man, this is brutally hard. Oh no. But then I got through it and it was alright. Oh. The hit detection is pretty forgiving on this. You don't have to be exactly lined up. So you feel like, as long as you don't... Look at that. Listen to that. Look at that. That's cool. You get the... It's doing a little thing. And now you got a different enemy. I think that one's supposed to be a jackal skull or something. And there's beetles and... Oh, that's like a hawk, I think. Okay, I got the key. Go through the tunnel. And then we got the gem. Oh, that was close. If I had been a second later, that thing would have got me. And never just try to run away from them. They will get you. So, especially that guy, the jackal is the worst. Oh, yeah. And that was it. That was me. But not bad. I mean, I do prefer the arcade game. It's got more detail. But as a port, and especially an Atari 2600 port, the sound effects are very close. You know, it does the jingle at the beginning of each level. I don't know. Kudos. Well done, Parker Brothers. Amidar. This is a game that I'm like surprised hasn't already been released by Hamster on the PlayStation, but maybe they're just doing the more recognizable titles. But on the other hand, there is a problem with this game, certainly on the arcade, is that stage 1, this one, you are supposed to be a gorilla is trying to escape from natives. And in the arcade, they are very clearly racial caricatures. So, yeah. Let's see what this says. First, you're a gorilla in a maze pursued by wild warriors. The gorilla wants to color the maze, and the warriors want to do in the gorilla. And then the next time, you're a paintbrush or paint roller with patrolling pigs, which is less problematic. Okay, but in this one, they just look like little blocky characters that look like they're out of Lock and Chase or something. And the game, you might have noticed, just starts. You power it on and you're just going. I mean, that was actually legit. I lost because I was sitting there reading the manual. Now, if you've ever played Amidar, the mechanics of all the guys trying to get you move in predetermined ways. So there's one of them whose job is to run around the outer edge of the maze all the time. That's the one who clobbered me the first time. The other ones will turn every time they hit a junction point. They will make the turn. And the hit detection in this game is not forgiving at all. You will get tagged if it's anywhere near you. So this is basic. The gameplay is basic. You just like, I'm painting in the outlines, and then as I go, whoop, and if you press the button, you get a limited number of times that you can. In the arcade, this would make the warriors jump. Here, they just kind of temporarily become invisible. You can walk through them. But you're trying to fill in the entire grid. And every time you color in the full outline of one of these blocks, it's complete. You want to do all of them. Now there is a Pac-Man style get the ghosts trigger, which is if you do the four corners. If you do the four corners, then for a brief time, the baddies will change color, and then you can get them. So that's kind of what I'm working towards here is, but you really just, they do have predictable ways that they move, but unfortunately they move faster than you, so you do want to kind of try to get away from them. And I have yet to get to the paint roller stage, which is the one after this. But someday. But I just really enjoy the gameplay of this. I have a thing for maze type of games. They're fun. And now we're getting to the final two. This is Venture. So this is another, this is an Exity game. I was going to say another. I do have Mousetrap, which is the other one. That one was published by Atari. Okay, so there's two different stages to this game. Is this a, no, I'm going to have to hit the reset switch. No game modes, you just reset and go. So, I'm a little adventurer guy, represented by the smiley face. In the arcade, you actually have a bow, but they just didn't have enough things to do the bow. Different monsters in each room. You're trying to get the treasure and leave. In the arcade, you would know that the room was done, would fill it all in, and this one, it just won't let you back in again. So you kind of have to remember what's what. These giant monsters out in the hallway, don't want to mess with them. And here's the diamond in the middle, and the obstacle is this. Now, if you hit the walls, you'll get pinched and die. So you gotta, you gotta do this. Other problem is that the monsters that are out in the hallway will come in after you if you mess around too long in there. Usually what triggers it is killing all the enemies. So the key is try not to kill all the enemies with your arrows. Oh, he got me. Thankfully it remembers that you've gotten whatever, so like this one. Nope, done that one, it won't let me in again. And if we're real lucky, this is the toughest one. This is the one that's like you have to go all the way around here, and 100%, once I grab the treasure, the monster from outside is going to come after me. If I had killed all the little skeletons and then tried that, no hope. It would have come in right away. I would have been doomed. Oh, you got to be kidding. See, look at that, look at that. That's not physically contacting me at all. What rubbish. That hit detection on this game is really whack. But I gotta get through. We must see the next stage. I demand satisfaction. All right. And now we're gonna go to the next level. So it's gonna load up different rooms. Da 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 da. Now this one I think is spiders. Now this one I haven't been past. In the arcade, oh, you see, look at that. What's that hit detection? Nonsense. Outrageous. They're not bad. It's got a little musical thing. It's got a little dun 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 that it's doing. That's kind of cool. I like it. I don't know how a key is a treasure. Like, does a key open something else? No. It's not. This is an adventure. You got these little goblin guys here. Their movements are a bit erratic, so they're, oh God, I should have known better. But, you know, not everybody's Indiana Jones. We don't always get the goods. But pretty solid port, actually. I mean, it looks very much closer to the arcade than Amidar did, or Tutankhamun, I'll tell you that. And it is not easy. Last but not least, Wizard of War. I used to love this game. This game, like Berserk, this is another. I think Berserk has the credit of being the first video game to feature voice synthesis in it, but Wizard of War came out very shortly thereafter. I don't remember seeing this in the arcades as much as Berserk, though. Unfortunately, CBS Electronics port does not have speech in it. This would be a groovy one if Atari could get the rights, but since it's a Midway game, which means it's owned by Warner, who, for reasons that I cannot understand, has been even worse than Activision at honoring its video game legacy. I mean, the last time they did a Midway Arcade Treasures collection was on the PlayStation 3, and that was a bit pants, to be honest. Their early ones was some of the earliest stuff that Digital Eclipse got their teeth on. The PlayStation, Williams Arcade Classics, that was my killer app. That's why I bought the original PlayStation, was because I was like, oh my god, I can actually play these original arcade games. And to a degree, they haven't, even Digital Eclipse, the subsequent Arcade Treasures versions, didn't match it. They really didn't. I mean, the original releases on the PlayStation had, you could actually access the operator menus inside, set how many credits would how many coins you had to insert to put in credits, and it was amazing. Like, just like MAME level emulation before MAME was really a commonly used thing. So that disappoints the hell out of me. It really does, because Defender is one of my very favorite games, and the fact is I have to use MAME on my Mac in order to play that game. Or unless I'm going to buy like a repro cabinet. And there is a company in the UK that sells reproduction cabinets with reproduction circuit boards in them, and that's a couple of grand, but someday I'm going to have a flat big enough, and I'm going to have a freaking Defender upright in it. And I'll do a video on that too. But anyway, Wizard of War. This does have different game modes. This one I have a box and manual for, actually. And here's the little manual. It's a little red booklet. Cartridge instructions. Here's how to play. Yeah, we know how to play. The different enemy types. The arcade, the Burr Wars and the Gar Wars had different shapes, but on this one they have the same shape, but they kept different shapes for the other enemies, and it's fine, There's a 2-player version. I think that I don't think there's a different game mode. I think you just plug in the other joystick and away you go. Although, interestingly, and I don't know if it switches direction though, because you'll see player 1 is on the right, but I have the joystick plugged into the left. So unlike Pong on Video Olympics, not Pong, video, whatever the hell game that was, I don't have to have it plugged into the other opposite port. This is a basic maze shooter. It starts out slow. You got a radar at the bottom. The reasons for which should be obvious now. There's an enemy walking around on screen. After you kill your initial blue enemies, the red and yellow ones that show up are invisible. When you're not in the same row as they are, they're invisible. Now, what's interesting is you can shoot the shots of the red and the blue ones, the red and the yellow ones, but not the blue ones. The blue ones, if they're in a row and they're facing you, okay, I tell a lie. They'll just kill you anyway. It doesn't matter. you can't survive. And you'll see there's like a little Pac-Man style connector that will. Oh man, I'm not doing it this time. But you know what? This video's been going on long enough. This is a solid game though. It's a pretty good port. You know what? I'm going to play a second time because that's not satisfying. You didn't get to see the Warlock or the Wizard of War for that matter. Your shot will go straight across. I think in the arcade you could, if you're close, you could just kind of spam the fire button. This one not so much, but I remember having this as a kid. This is the PAL version of the game. I don't know if that accounts for the flicker. I really can't remember if the original game, if your guy flickered like that or not. I do have game mode switched on, by the way, before anyone says anything. Although I don't think the Atari 2600 really needs it. Some people have some weird... Oh, that was daft. Some people have some weird stuff they've had happen, so, you know, I was playing this and didn't realize it didn't have game mode switched on my TV for this input, but so I probably didn't need it, but some people definitely benefit from it. Well, I know when I'm licked. I can usually do better than this, but I won't bore you to tears. Anyway, that's, you know, Wizard of War. That's a solid one. You should be able to find it on eBay without too much trouble. All of these games, I think, most of these I got in Chicago. This one was a little pricey venture, even though it's card only. Oh, no, actually it isn't card only. This one I think came with the, I don't have the box for it, but I'm pretty sure I have the manual. No, tell a lie. No, even though it's card only, it did cost a couple of bucks, and I don't remember seeing this very common. So that's that one. Wizard of War. I've certainly in PAL Parrot in the UK. I've seen it on eBay a few times. That's where I got it from. Amadar. Don't know. Again, I got this in Chicago. And Tutankhamun. I've counted myself real lucky to find both of these. They're on my list. Reactor I actually got in the UK. That one I will indulge you a bit and do a get up off my ass maneuver. So here's the Reactor box. You can see our friends from Parker Brothers. There's the old Parker Bros logo, and you have an actual box. And I really wish, pretty solid build box. I wish they had done more of these, because that, I mean, this, you know, this is okay, you know, with the pop the thing up for Mr. Run and Jump, which is a new release. Not bad at all. But some of these games, you know, came in boxes that, like Mousetrap, where you basically, well, I guess it's the same, but it's, you know, they don't hold up that well. I paid $15 for them. Anyway. So, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, you know, I don't know, leave a like, whatever. I mean, watching it is enough for me. Comments, feedback, whatever, always welcome. You want to be abusive, you can do that, I guess, but I don't see what the point is. If you got questions about my gear, I'm happy to answer those as well. But maybe I'll do more of these. I got some old GameCube games, but mostly I want to like do feature Evercade stuff and the Atari, I think. But if I carry on with this, you know, I've got a ton of classic arcade games on my PlayStation, and there's some good stuff on MAME that might be off the beaten path that could be of interest. But anyway, thanks for watching.